What's up, man? Hello. How you doing? How you doing? Have you heard anything about the Advanced Double Dragon port? 'Cause I'm thinking of getting that. I just want to see if it's a good port first. I actually didn't really play Double Dragon Advance that much, so I wouldn't be a good critic of that port. Oh, I do hope it's a good port, though. I'm curious how the Super Double Dragon port is gonna be, because that game is like probably the worst, the worst original version. That game was a slideshow on the SNES. I know because I did play that a couple times as a kid. The first Double Dragon and Super are the ones I played as a kid. I did play 2 as well. I think I might have played 3 like once. What's a quality up feature? Yeah, see, that's worth buying. That's worth buying. These ROM dumps are not. Eh, put them in an emulator. That's not worth buying. We'll have to look around for the Double Dragon. We'll have to look around and see if that's worth it. But yeah, I wouldn't be the best critic. Unlike some of the other ports that have come out, where I like could actually make a good review for it. Yeah, I remember playing it a little bit. I think I might have rented it from GameFly, but I never owned the game. Double Dragon Advance, yeah. I never played that much. But yeah, there's supposed to be a port for it tomorrow. I wonder if it's going to be a good port or a shit port. Probably the latter. Can't expect nice things in video games anymore. You have to expect it to be a broken, non-functional mess. That way you can't be disappointed. Set yourself up for disappointment if you expect video games to be good and functional these days. Surprisingly, this game runs very well. 120 FPS, pretty much locked all the time. All I had to do is just put it on medium, because I don't really care about graphics. I just want solid performance. Yeah, this game is solid, but I'm not good with the thief yet. I'm not good with the thief yet, sadly. I gotta learn the muscle memory. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Is I already beat the game. I haven't beaten the true last boss yet, but I'm hoping a little more grinding, maybe I can do it. Ooh, attack speed. Oh yeah, we'll take that. You guys hear they're making a Bloodborne movie? They're making a movie for Bloodborne, but they can't put that game on PC for some reason. Just let that sink in for a minute. Does it really need a movie? It needs a port that doesn't run at 20 FPS. It doesn't take, like, a fiscal year to load a single room. That's what it needs. It does not need a movie. That should be the least of their concerns. Does not need a movie. Why is there a movie? Everyone begs and pleads for that game to be on PC. Like, no, we're gonna give you a movie instead. I can read the room a little bit, maybe. That's not what people want. You want to be able to play that game at an acceptable frame rate and resolution. Same thing with Tales, the Tales series, exact same bullshit. We're gonna think about porting the games. Like, don't think about it, actually do it. Actually port the games. Actually port the damn games already. You sold how many copies of Vesperia? Definitive Edition? You know there's a market for it. But they gotta gaslight their fan base. Like, oh, we're thinking about doing it. We're considering doing it. I'm like, no, actually do it. You know that people want it. No one even cares about the Arise DLC. No one's talking about it. It's just making more of something that nobody wanted. I'm like, why don't you port the good games? The games where enemies actually stagger. There's actual hits done. Why don't you port those? Instead of more Arise. You don't need more of that game. It's borderline offensive that they're making more of that damn game. Let it die. Fans will probably end up making a source port for Xillia 2 or something before Pamco does anything. Would not surprise me. Oh, come on. I hate gimmicks. I hate this room. This room sucks. Just give me straight combat room. This room is like the worst room in this game. They need to remove it. There's all the gimmicks and they fall down. Like, what's wrong with just straight room of guys to fight? I don't need all this. They keep fucking getting stuck. Why does this room exist? And then you have to take damage getting back. just want a blank PS2 room with 2 textures and dudes to fight. That's it. Stop trying to innovate. I don't like the second level of this game because this damn room sucks. The first level has just straight blank combat rooms. I just want a blank flat area like this. Yeah, it's just blank, nondescript flat rooms is the best action game level design, in my opinion. I'll take the air dash. Like how Assault Spy's combat room is the Bloody Palace is just like gray. It's just like gray generic polygons. It's like, yeah, that's what it should be. That's peak right there. That's peak design right there. Now, this game's still arcade based. I think the third boss is actually pretty bad because he summons ads. Action game bosses that summon ads, no one likes them. The other bosses are fine. The last boss is pretty difficult. It doesn't feel unfair, though. It's like pleasantly surprised at how fair it felt. I didn't get mad when I lost. Assault Spy in general was just like really designed with replayability in mind. I really like that about DMC5 as well. DMC5 has its faults, but they definitely went through pretty big effort to make you actually want to replay the game. They got rid of all the puzzles and stuff. DMC puzzles were like never bad. They were never like terrible or like unbearable or anything. It's mostly just, you know, they expect you to play through the game like 4 times, and you get tired of it after a while. That was kind of the problem. So, they went for the hallway level design in 5, and I think the game was a lot better because of it. It's just, it ended up kind of being a moot point because they added V in the game, who's buns to play. DMC puzzles weren't bad. They weren't particularly obtuse or, like, very annoying. I never really remember getting too frustrated with them. They weren't, like, offensively bad. It was mostly just... It's mostly just playing through the game 4 or 5 times. You know, you just don't want to interact with them anymore, which is kind of the problem with when they try to put variety in games like this. And, like, the variety should be the gameplay, in my opinion. Variety should be the gameplay, not necessarily puzzles and stuff, because it does admittedly add variety the first time that you play it, but every subsequent time it's just there. You don't want to interact with it because it's not the normal gameplay. That's my take on puzzles. What's up, Power Flood? DMC4 had the worst puzzles for sure, yeah. The gyro blades were pretty bad. The problem with the gyro blade puzzles was not that they were too hard. They didn't have, like, moon logic. The objective was clear. It's just that the problem was it took so long to get it done. It took too long to get it done. That was the issue. The issue was you could see the solution, but moving the gyro blade around was just torture. You didn't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out the solution, but it took so long to do it anyway. That was my problem with it. This wasn't really fun to interact with. Like, okay, I figured out this puzzle like 2 minutes ago. But I've still got to push this damn blade around in this really clunky way. Invictus still alive? That game is so old. And I know it runs like garbage, too. I'm surprised that game is still up. How many people are even still playing that? I never played it myself. Critica finally shut down. No, I think the crypto one is still up, but the parent version is dead, so I can't imagine the crypto one is going to last much longer. I would be shocked if it did. I'd like to think people are smarter than that. Yeah, they don't deserve your money. I don't know where the hell they're going to get new content from, because they basically got, like, bought out, I think, by that company. The problem with Critica was just complete negligence. Not listening to the player base. Like, hey, your engine sucks. It's not playable. I don't think wanting the game engine to actually work and not run at like 10 FPS during a raid where you can get one shot is an unrealistic, entitled gamer request. But they never listen. Definitely is one of the big things that killed that game. I played that game hardcore for like, I don't know, several months. The first time that it came back. All M was publishing it themselves. I played for a while. I was playing it hardcore, but I fell off because all that was left to do was the raids, and it ran like garbage. I'm like, there's no way I can keep playing this. There's no way I can keep playing this. There's other stuff out there to play other than that actually work. It still doesn't have all the classes? What? I just don't even know what they're trying to do. Like, you want people to go into the crypto scam, then maybe you should actually make a new game instead of keep trying to prop up the corpse of the old one. Just a hunch. Crypto bros will play anything if it, you sell them the snake oil scam, making a lot of money, which never happens. You don't make any money in crypto. I don't even think crypto bros are playing that game. I think even they know better. Pretty sure whatever monkey NFT game they've got runs better than Critica, so I think it's a better choice. you have to pay like $50 to get a character slot. They're very open about grifting people. It's the crypto grift, but worse. You gotta pay to have like an extra character for some reason. How much do I have to pay for the engine to actually work? How much does that cost? What's the microtransaction for it to not be on Unreal Engine 3 and barely function? That's what I'd like to know. There's a Korean stream YouTube channel that played the game pretty much until it died. He was like a hardcore player. And he had like a really good computer. And it was just sad watching him play and like it's dropping frames constantly and stuttering. I'm sure he could run much better looking games, like way better than Kritika, which is just sad. Kritika is 10 years old now. Should be able to run circles around that game. I never played the Unmasked version. I never played that one. You know, the same thing's happening with Mega Man X Dive right now. Somehow they're getting new content for that game. I don't know how. Like, how much money does it even make at this point? It can't possibly be bringing in much money when there's an offline version that has 99% of the content. Outside of the raid and PvP, the PvP was just a circle jerk of how much money people can spend. I think anyone's really gonna miss that. Like, why is somebody gonna pay for loot boxes when there's a $30 version that has everything? And it's completely rebalanced and has mods. Mods for X Dive offline are pretty nuts. I have to go back and check it out sometime. They put out like one new character for the mobile version for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's worse. It makes less sense because it's Massimo of all characters. He's like not popular. I don't know how many people are going to be like really frothing at the mouth to play as Massimo. He's not exactly a breadwinner character. I think it's safe to say. I'm guessing they're just going to try to keep it alive as long as possible with like just like reskin characters or something. It's just like, I don't know, man, when a parent version of a service game shuts down, I immediately ditch whatever version I'm playing. I immediately ditch it. Yeah, not the kind of thing you need to be spending time on. It happened with Ragnarok Online 2 as well. That game, Korean version died really fast, and like the global one stayed up a little bit longer. Like, I don't know, man. I'm already, like, tapped out at that point. I don't even think anyone would even want a private server of Kritika, because it's like... It's less the microtransactions that were the problem with that game, it was the garbage engine. You couldn't play the game as intended, it didn't work. Nice hitbox. I never looked at the Kritika classes. I remember they added like a female berserker or something. The game's just a good example of it's not like they abandoned the game. They didn't abandon it. They just didn't add. They didn't add the right stuff to it. Yeah, added stuff it didn't need. Like, yeah, I'll take like less new characters and content over the engine actually making the game playable. I'll take that. You know, I'll take that over new characters. Overkill is abandonware. Not abandonware, but vaporware. I don't think that's ever coming out. Classic video game trope, announcing something too soon. It's definitely not going to be a worldwide release either. It's going to be Korea only, so you'll need a VPN to even try it. That's why I'm like not really excited for that game, just because I'd have to get a VPN to play it. Okay, I told you to dodge. This boss has too much health. This boss has like 3 times the health of everyone else. Like all the other bosses combined. It's weird. I like how I don't even get a damage window because he can do that while he's stunned. And he has like way too much health. This boss is what I can't stand about this game. It's not a fun boss fight. Overstays its welcome. He should have been dead by now. This fight just goes on too long. I don't know if they expect you to grind or what, but I don't understand why he needs so much health. The way of making it hard is just giving him a lot of health. It's already not fun to fight. He just spams non-stop. There's like no window to attack. They need to nerf this boss. I don't know if they're just expecting you to grind or what, but it takes like 10 times longer to take 1 health bar off this guy. I don't know what it is they want you to do. It's not like it's hard or unfair, it's just boring. Like, why does he need 3 health bars? There's no reason for him to have 3 health bars. When the game ended at the orc guy, it felt like it was better, because it felt like it wasn't so exhausting. I'm guessing you just need to, like, max all this out or something. But yeah, for some reason, like, none of this stuff seems to help. That boss just has a billion health for some reason. I don't understand why. It's the classic problem in a lot of these roguelikes, where they think it's cool to have, like, this epic boss, and they think that it's gonna get them good reviews. I'm like, well, people are gonna fight the boss hundreds of times, right? It should be fun. It shouldn't be exhausting. That's kind of the problem with that fight. Also, the icicles that he shoots are unfair, because if you get hit by one, pretty much he can take off your whole health bar. And I wouldn't have a problem with that if he didn't have so much health. That's like the main issue, is at its core. It's more health than he needs. I think I'll try the Vanguard for a little bit. Maybe I'll just grind this offline or something, because that boss is just not fun. I think that boss would be fine if this was like a 1 playthrough game, but It's not. That's the issue. I'll fight that dude another 800 times. Like they could cut his health in half and it would still be like completely fair. I didn't like Aethergazer that much. Aethergazer was... It's not bad. I just don't like... I don't like games where they give you cooldowns, but they're like so long and you can't like mitigate... There's no like CDR in the game, so you just end up just pushing the attack button. That's what I didn't like about that game. It felt like it was fun to play until you got stuck in cooldown, and then it just felt like you're playing a one-button combat game. It's what I didn't like about it. I didn't like the whole gimmick of we're not going to have an MMO rotation in this, like Honkai and PGR. The problem is that it's just not fun to pull and build for characters if you're not actually playing them. The only benefit of that system that I thought was cool was that you didn't have to play as support characters, because that's definitely a problem in PGR and Honkai, is like a support character pretty much makes you do busted damage or something, but they're always like boring to play. I thought that aspect of Aethergazer was actually pretty cool, because you didn't have to play the support class if you didn't want to. You could just play the damage dealer. So that part of it was cool, but I felt like it would be more fun if they cut the cooldown time by like half. So like, you know, you still had to interact with the enemy, not just attack non-stop, but not just sit there waiting. Phantom Blade Executioners actually does it pretty well, because there's a lot of ways that you can mitigate the cooldown. There's a lot of like CDR in that game, and sometimes in doing a full combo the other one can be ready, so you can keep attacking and dodging. I think that game does it pretty well. It has like base cooldown values, but you can mitigate it, and there's lots of builds that you can do. But yeah, Aethergazer just didn't really hold my interest. I also didn't like the characters as well. There are way too many waifus. Just generic animes. I couldn't stand them. A lot of lollies as well. They don't really start adding the cool male characters until like way later. But yeah, that game's roster is not hiding their target audience, that's for sure. The roster didn't help things either. Like I would have been more willing to put that past it, but I don't know, playing one character is just kind of boring when you have cooldowns. What's going on with PSO2? Has anything happened in that game lately? I haven't been paying attention. I've been totally out of the loop with that game. Doesn't seem like it's gotten much better. Seems like it's still same shit, different day. What have they even added to PS2's PSO NGS? Is it just more costumes? Just trying to exploit their whales. DFO Overkill is never coming out. They turned Project BBQ into a Souls game, apparently. And that was announced like 2 years ago, by the way. Not a single second of gameplay footage. Like, man, why do you gotta announce things so soon? Okay, we just got out of the meeting to get the green light from the publisher to make this game. Let's just announce it now and have like a blank screenshot or a logo. I'm like, no, why don't you tell me about it in 3 years when it's like actually going to come out soon? I want to fucking know about it now. It's Bayonetta 3 syndrome. That's what they did with that game. Basically, when they announced that at the Game Awards, they like barely even started working on it. Keep in mind that was before COVID as well. That was quite a bit before COVID. I really don't think COVID has much to do with how that game turned out. They were clearly in development hell. I really think a lot of what happened with that game is like they didn't want to compromise their vision for it. But they're stuck with shitty Switch hardware, so they couldn't. The game barely ran, and all the set pieces were terrible to play because of the input lag from the bad frame rate. Yeah, that game was announced like, what, like 2018, wasn't it? It only came out like barely a year ago. 4-year dev cycle for a kind of game like that is nuts. I'm also really pissed that they're adding the fucking Battle Mage to DNF Duel. Like, come on, man. You gotta add the fucking Battle Mage. You can't add somebody better than that. Where's the Monk? Are they, like, trying to do an act of desperation to get people to play by putting in a lolly? I'm thinking that's what it is. they want a lolly in the game. Like, fuck the Mage. The Mage has like 3 frames of animation in the actual game. DFO. That's like the worst sprite in the whole game is the Mage. have you ever looked at the mage idle animation in DFO? It's like the sprite just kind of vibrates. It looks really bad. I'm guessing that's part of why she made it into the roster. It's like, hey, here's this character that people like for some reason because they're lolicons, but with more than 3 frames of animation. I really do think that's part of the reason. Yeah, I don't really like their DLC roster choices so far as a long-time fan of the game. Where's Rogue? How do they not have Rogue? No-brainer to have the Rogue. No, you get Battle Mage and Brawler. I don't know, man. You don't even launch with the Infighter in the base roster. It should be like a dead giveaway for a fighting game character. I'm guessing it's gonna be another 6 months before... Another 6 months before they put the monk in the game. I've heard that the monk is next. And like the other character is gonna be a female Nenmaster. Female Nenmaster could be pretty cool. Especially because... the different genders for fighter like aren't terribly different. I think that having female Nenmaster is actually really cool. I would have gone for male Nenmaster as well. Like, thought he was a lot more fun to play, mostly because his sprite was better. I think Witch would be a shit choice for a fighting game. It would essentially be filling the screen full of stuff. Just like how they can't put Summoner. I mean, they can't do Summoner. Summoner would break the game pretty much. Yeah, I think they know the implications of adding the Summoner. Pretty dangerous. They actually have, like, in DFO, they have like a lot of characters they like just straight up couldn't add because they wouldn't work. They'd be too oppressive. They can't add Scholar. They can't add Creator. Even female Nenmaster is kind of a bit of a stretch because of all the stuff that you could do. It'd be interesting to see how they convert her to a fighting game character. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure how that's gonna work either. Yeah, despite having like 50 characters they can choose from, there's a decent chunk of them that they won't really work in a fighting game setting. I would have liked to see Male Striker, Rogue, Skirmisher. I feel like those are no-brainers. But yeah, I really didn't like the base roster of DNF Duel. I enjoyed playing the game. It was a game I always wanted. It's just kind of a hard sell. It's a Discord fighter for one. It does have good netcode, I'll give it that, but there's just nothing there, you know, unless you play online. They couldn't even be bothered to have like a roguelike mode or like something like that. A beat 'em up mode should be a no-brainer. How do they not have one? It's not like they just wanted the game to fail, to be honest. It's already not like a popular IP outside of Asia. It already had that going against it, but then like content-wise, it's just... I mean, it's about on par with Guilty Gear Strive. Guilty Gear Strive also has like 0 single-player content. But yeah, it's not a good look either way. I'm kind of like overpaying $60 for fighting games that end up being Discord fighters in 2 months, and then they don't even have any single-player content to note. So the game basically just doesn't work because I can't be asked to go in a Discord and beg people to play. I'm already like checked out at that point. Sometimes people will be like, "Oh, well, you should be happy there's people that want to go and play with you." Yeah, but it's an extra step. You don't have to do that in like any other competitive game. You can hop in Call of Duty or Apex, Valorant, League, all those games, and just get a match like right away. When I hop in the game and play it, you can just do that. Not being able to do that is a lot worse than people give it credit for. Especially when you want to play on your time and not a complete stranger's time. But yeah, it's weird that the fighting game based on a beat 'em up has like no single player mode at all. It's just you get a really low effort story mode and arcade mode. That's it. If they added like a beat 'em up mode to that game, I would come back in a heartbeat. I would play it again. Have you ever looked at the Ghost Knight's sprite? His idle animation? He basically... He's almost as bad as the mage. His sword arm rotates and moves slightly, like a couple pixels. And they kind of animate his torso a little bit. It looks really bad. I think they did a sprite revamp on him recently. I know that they were going to do one for the female fighter as well. I'm like, yeah, they kind of need it. I can't say that they don't need it. They're definitely in need of a new sprite. I feel like that game's success is kind of an anomaly just because you could tell that they didn't plan for it to be a success, because the mage sprite is terrible, the Ghost Knight sprite is terrible as well. And then they become like the most popular characters. It's like, well, we made this sprite 18 years ago, we can't really add more animation frames to it because of the avatar system. So it just stuck with this perpetually bad-looking sprite. And they have like thousands of avatars now, so they can't easily add new frames. That's one thing I'll give DNF Duel's base roster. I don't think the base roster is very good. I feel like they left a lot of really good characters on the table. I've already mentioned them at length, but like, how do you not have Skirmisher, Rogue, and Monk in the game? They should be like the easiest characters to put in. But they're like not there for some reason. It's like, well, good question. But it is cool seeing characters like the Asura and the Berserker and like not shit sprites. I like that part of it. DFO has really cool characters, but it's held back by the sprites are like 20 years old now, so they pretty much have surpassed the use that the Morrigan sprite got at this point. I don't regret buying DNF Duel. I got some fun out of it, but it definitely is a Discord fighter. I do think people obsess over player bases too much, but it's a legitimate complaint. Not everybody wants to go on a Discord and beg somebody from the other side of the planet to play a game with them, you know? You don't have to do that in any other competitive genre. I totally understand the lack of patience for wanting to do stuff like that. Despite how shitty popular esports games are, you can understand part of their popularity, right? It's because you can just go on and play. With the fighting game, it's always a crapshoot if there's going to be anyone playing. Ranked will be dead, and then there'll be like specific times that people play. You might have work or school or other responsibilities at the time. you can't go on and play at that time. Like, yeah, no wonder people play like Overwatch and stuff. Totally understandable. Takes all that out of the equation. Maybe they'll add a beat 'em up mode to DNF Duel, and then it would be like the best fighting game ever. Kinda doubt it though. They seem complacent in their failure. I feel like if that game came out this year, or was like announced this year, that they actually would have like a beat 'em up mode or something, because now the expectations for fighting games has changed a lot because of Street Fighter 6 having like an actual full-on single-player mode that people can enjoy and not have to worry about online. I'm almost certain it would have a online mode. That Tekken mode that got leaked looks fucking cool. I hope that's like an actual like extensive thing like the one in Tekken 6. Because I would be all over that. I would buy that game just for that mode. I would buy it just for that mode. I'm fully committing to that statement. As long as it's not just Lars and Elisa, you can actually play as everybody. Totally down for that. We'll see, though. They don't want to officially announce it for some reason, even though everybody already knows about it. They should have announced that from the start. I don't get why it's taken them so long to announce that. I think that would get a lot of people on board, especially because expectations for fighting games are a lot higher now. At least for single-player content, it's like way higher now because of SF6, which is a good thing. Part of the reason why fighting games have been kind of on a little bit of a decline is because they just don't have anything to do. I've bought too many fighting games that are just pointless to have now because they're Discord fighters. Already like not interested when it becomes a Discord fighter. It's just worsened when the game doesn't have crossplay. Battle for the Grid had crossplay, so that game had a longer online life than a lot of other games for sure. Interestingly enough. Just because you could play with like 6 different platforms, regardless of which one you're playing on. This is the Awakener Forgotten Oath. This came out yesterday. I saw people getting sponsored for this. I'm like, where's my sponsorship? Where's my sponsorship? They don't even approach me. I even left them an email asking for a review key and they didn't even respond. That's okay, it was only 15 bucks. The only time I get approached for sponsorships is shitty mobile games that I don't want to promote because they're garbage. yes, Raid Shadow Legends is one of the ones I've gotten, but I blocked them because it's a scam. It's a scam without being a scam, if that makes any sense. I know that's kind of an oxymoron, but that's pretty much what raid sponsorships are. Like, yeah, they do pay, but you have to beg people to play the game, otherwise they pay you dirt, pay you peanuts. Not about to beg people to play raid for a paltry payment. People would be more people would be cool with just straight donating to me than playing raid. That's kind of the interesting thing about raid sponsorships is I've seen it happen. People will be like, "Hey, I don't want to play this garbage, but here's 20 bucks. Like, yeah, I don't blame you. Support the streamer. Help them keep doing what they like. And, not have to play that garbage game. I mean, it's a pretty good deal. Yeah, did you guys hear, the new Yakuza game doesn't have New Game Plus. They're probably gonna charge for it. You gotta pay for New Game Plus now. Like, how hard is it to make New Game Plus for a Yakuza game? It's like not anywhere near as complicated as other games. You gotta... I guess they're gonna charge for it. It's either that or they make it free and they make you wait like 6 months for it when you've already moved on. They pulled that stunt with God of War Ragnarok. They're also doing it with Spider-Man 2 as well. That game doesn't have New Game Plus. Like, why does it not have New Game Plus? Totally should. It's just like, nope. No New Game Plus. They try to do this thing where it's like, oh, it's such goodwill to give it to you for free. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Plenty of games that give it to you for free at launch. It's not goodwill at all. I don't know. I don't think it really works on most people. Clearly it's not, because that's like one of the biggest complaints about Spider-Man 2 as a whole. Like, it's not a bad game or anything. Most of the complaints with that game is just that it's buggy and that it doesn't have New Game Plus. I don't think people are gonna be like worshipping Sony for making it free. I'm like, it should be in the base release. Like day one. Oh hell yeah, attack speed. You know, I love me some attack speed. Some people thought, what's it called? Some people thought Spider-Man 2 was gonna get, New Game Plus like last week, but it didn't. They still don't have it. I don't know about that, man. Make you wait for basic functionality. It's interesting because like a lot of the smaller, less popular games I played the past few years, like they make it a priority. Make it a priority to have New Game Plus. Should make like a video about underrated New Game Plus modes. A lot of the best New Game Plus modes are like games that no one played. Dusk Diver 2 has an amazing New Game Plus. It gives you the whole party with no restrictions. You can do solo runs. And then to add icing on the cake, they even give you all the playable human characters. There's human bosses in that game, like a Tales game. They give them to you for free. You didn't have to do that. Memory of Heroes New Game Plus is low-key underrated as well. They give you the entire playable roster, and even give you an extra character, and you can switch them out without story mode restrictions. They also give you unlimited stamina as well, which is like even better. But then like Spider-Man 2 is like probably costs like 300 times more to make than both of those games combined. It does not have New Game Plus. Let's let that sink in for a second. No New Game Plus in sight. Cool, thanks. Spider-Man 2 is also, like, really buggy. I was watching one of my mods that comes in here, he was playing it, and it crashed on him, like, 4 times. And not even, like, trying to look for glitches or anything. It's just straight up crashes constantly. The only thing that makes it not too bad is that the game does take pretty good advantage of the hardware, so get back in the game pretty quick. I don't know how much of an excuse that is, though, in my opinion. I did it! Game clear! 2 last boss beaten. Nice. First clear. Well, first full clear. Second total clear. You can watch this gripping story. Damn, that was a good run. He got shredded pretty hard. Nice. GG's. Cool. Look at my stats here. Yeah, I had like really good stuff that run. I made some big plays. GG's. Yeah, you need a lot of burst damage for that boss. He has like way too much health. You kind of gotta spec in damage maybe more than you'd like. Cool, cool. I think I had to beat the game 5 times to unlock whatever this is. 3 more times. It's only going to get easier from here on out because of the persistent elements. Hell yeah, we're going to get more attack speed. Alright. Something else there is to get. I'm gonna go ahead and save up for that revive. I think that's probably the best thing to do. I already got everything on this character. Let's go ahead and change to the Thief. Maybe I'll like him a little bit more with some of his extra moves. Let's give it a shot.
Good call.
He has some stuff in here that looks cool. I might like more. Got dash, launch. Maybe I should go with a smash attack. That one looks pretty sexy too, huh? Just unlock them all. Figure out which one I like. I don't have enough for this one, huh? That one looks pretty cool. Kinda wish they would let you equip all these at once. They definitely have some space on the D-pad. They should add like a style switch. Yeah. Also, one nitpick of this game is the fact that the movesets are not created equal. I don't mean their performance. I mean, like, the first guy that you start with has, like, barely any moves. The other two characters both have more than him, so... The generic knight guy is actually pretty good, though, because he has a just counter. And he has, like, different follow-ups after it, which is pretty nice. And he can shred shield bars really quick, but he just isn't anywhere near as fun to play as the other two. So, they need to, I think they should nerf the final boss's health. Keep the phases, but considering how quickly he can shred through a health bar, he should have less health. Because it definitely feels like it's a battle of attrition unless you get there. You really build your character well and you have a lot of damage. That was why I was able to kill him so quick. I wouldn't say it's not good. It's just not a good game if you want sweaty gameplay. There's a difference. It's not a good game if you want sweaty gameplay. It doesn't really reward skillful play. It's mostly just RPG stuff. Timing on that's really tight. That's why I want to get rid of that move. Let me see if I've got something else, actually. The timing to get the... what is it called? Special attack or whatever. It's, like, pretty strict. Let's try this instead. I'll lose the gap closer, but maybe it's got a less tight timing. Did I ever play the original one? I did for like an hour. I didn't have a PlayStation growing up. I was a Nintendo kid, so... I also played that game like 10 years after it came out, because I had a friend that lived nearby when in my 20s, and he lent me the game, but I didn't get far, no, so it's not a nostalgia game for me. It's a good game, but I do feel like some of the stuff that they added is very jank. It's just very, very janky. It's just one of those games where you can't ignore the RPG stuff. Like you have to interact with it. You know, in Tales games, some of the Tales games, you can kind of ignore a lot of it. You can't ignore all of it, but you can ignore some of it. You don't have to really spec in damage if you don't want to. But in Star Ocean, you kind of have to. But yeah, I beat the game. I'm doing the post game stuff now. I'm just kind of taking a little break from it because I wanted to check this out today. I had a lot of fun with it. Once I stopped trying to play it like an action game, I had a lot more fun with it. Yeah, Star Ocean 6 just lets you combo bosses. You can combo most of them. So I might actually play that next. I'm leaning towards playing that game next. We'll see how things go. But yeah, I don't really feel like playing through the game twice right now, because I know the game is made in Unity, so it'll probably get some gameplay mods down the line. Any other games coming out? Right now, a lot of the stuff I'm interested in is vaporware, so it's kind of hard to answer that question. Man, there's been some cool stuff announced, but no release dates in sight, so I don't know. The Game Awards is coming up soon. I'll probably have maybe like one game I'll be interested in there, maybe. This was like the big one I was interested in. Was this game, and so far it hasn't disappointed. It's got its faults, but I think the biggest fault with this game is it feels like it's early access, but apparently it isn't. It feels like an early access game just because of the light amount of content, but then it's not. It's not early access. It could have fooled me. But at least they're not charging a really high price for it. It's like under $20, so I think there's enough meat here to be worth it. It's like when you want the game to be early access, it's not. And when a game is early access, it always turns out bad. I've been burnt in early access so many times. I think if this was in early access, I don't think people would have been too upset, as it definitely does have... It's got enough for early access, but definitely feels a little barren, considering the competition. FF16 just had a lot of hype because it was actually something to play on the PS5. That's a big part of that game's hype. And people overhyped it a lot, and it ended up turning out, it's like not bad from what I've heard, but not the legendary game that people were hyping it up to be, that's for sure. Which was about what I expected. I can't even really blame gamers for being overly excited for that game, just because it came out this year and there's been like barely anything to play on the new consoles for a long time now, so I get it. I understand it. I definitely do think people did set themselves up for disappointment a little bit, though, admittedly. It looks like a slightly above average action game with a whole lot of cutscenes and weird pacing. Like, the combat is fast, but then the main character moves like super slow. It's like 30-minute gimmick boss fights. That would make Bayonetta aroused. I'm like not even sure I want to play that game when it comes to PC. I'm leaning towards no. I can't stand gimmick boss fights. It's like a really big part of that game. They tried to outdo Bayonetta with the set-piece boss fights. I had enough of that in Bayonetta already. I think mods for that game would be cool on paper, but it's not on a well-known engine, so it's gonna take some really dedicated people to make mods for that, I think. I don't know if most people will even care. But yeah, that game could definitely benefit from some gameplay mods, so I'm interested to see what happens. But it's not on like a really generic engine. Like, this game is Unreal Engine 5. Star Ocean is Unity. So like, if people want to mod these games, they totally can. But FF16, somebody would have to really be mega dedicated to do it. I think just making the main character run faster when he's not in combat would be like... I think a lot of people would like immediately install that. Because it wouldn't like break the balance of the game, it'd just make the flow a little better. I'll be playing Peak of Combat. If I do play that game, it'll be for two reasons. The first is if they sponsored me, which they won't, because they don't sponsor people that actually know how to play action games. And also because, what's it called? I spent some money on the first beta. Like, what was it, like 8 months ago? And I get double of that back. So I could make a pretty good video about the monetization without actually spending any money. But I don't know. I don't know how well that game's gonna do, to be honest. They don't listen to feedback. They seem completely satisfied just wanting people to rag on the game. People tell them what they need to do to fix the game and they don't do it, so I don't know what the future holds for that game, but not a good look when people actually give you passionate feedback and don't just shit on the game. They give you, like, constructive criticism, and they don't listen to it. They keep going down the same path and making things worse. I totally get why people aren't as excited as they once were. Hate this room. I heard that the monetization was, like, way worse in the last beta, so I don't know what that means. I know the Chinese version hasn't gotten a major update in, like, what, like 2 months? It's like, that's not a good sign either. That is definitely not a good sign. It hasn't had a major update in quite some time. But that's what happens when you don't listen to the people that are playing your game and spending money. Yeah, FF16 seems decent, but it's definitely overhyped. A lot. It's very overhyped. I don't even think it's anyone's fault. It's just circumstances of owning a PS5. There's just hasn't been much to really do with it. It's been a big-ass $600 router in people's houses for a long time, so obviously that's going to come with heightened expectations. Yeah, I'm not sure if I really want to even play that game when it comes out. I'm leaning towards no, because I watched friends and people in my community play through it. I watched them play through it. I'm like, man, these 30-minute gimmick boss fights are really gonna trigger me. I'm gonna get triggered so hard by that. I don't really like how the bosses just don't stagger. I'm kind of like not really a fan of that either. So we'll see. Alright, well, I should probably try to get to bed. I had a little bit of a jacked up sleep schedule today. I need to take my meds and try to get to bed. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and stop there, folks. Later today there should be some more Star Ocean. So I already beat the game. I beat the game off camera. I beat it offline because it's one of the games I'm playing right now that works like perfectly on the Steam Deck. So games like that, I'm not always going to stream all my time with it. But like that game I was just playing runs like garbage on the Steam Deck, so I think I'll probably just play that sometimes on stream, and I won't really be playing it offline that much. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. I'll try to be on earlier later today. See ya.